Panel, thank you for being here today. I know you got other things to do, but this is real important, and we need you. So thank you for that. Governor Gordon, does Wyoming participate with SRS, Secure Rural Schools funding, payment in lieu of taxes? And can you talk about that and the how that fits into your budget when you put together the budget of each year and the source of that funding? I want to just talk about money, federal money, for just a minute.
Mr. Chairman, Representative, thank you very much for that question. Yes, we do. Mineral development and surface activities there contribute mightily to our schools. Wyoming has a constitution that requires our state to fund a lot of our school activities. There's also local property tax, and we've also funded it with a severance tax off minerals. When we forego that, as we did in 2020, when COVID hit and we shut down production of so much, that was roughly a third of the state's total budget. An incredible hit to local schools, to our school kids, and an incredible hit to our county's ability to meet their needs.
So, Governor, given that, if you had the option as a governor of your state and the ultimate director of that budget, what would you prefer in that dynamic? To control the destiny of the land, to be able to manage that land that is under federal control and these restrictions, or to rely on the ongoing PILT and SRS funding?
Mr. Chairman, Representative, I, as treasurer, had the opportunity to experience what happened when Congress instituted sequestration. As a result, I have recommended that the states collect the federal mineral royalties and distribute the 50% to the federal government rather than the other way around. That money leaving the state and not being able to come back under whatever particular circumstance is dramatic. So to answer your question directly, I would rather control our future than have it controlled by
Thank you for that. And Mr. Chairman, I'd just like to state for the record, I wish there were more of my colleagues on the other side of the aisle here, because most of them come from states which are identified as donor states, not donee states, but it's just what the governor pointed out. The amount of federal money that they contribute into their taxpayers pay into the federal government, a lot of that gets exported to the West in the form of PILT, payment in lieu of taxes, SRS. That is a lose-lose deal, because those in those donor states are sending that money to, in large cases, to the West, where there's a lot of this public land, and those of us who are supposedly receiving it are getting the short end of the stick because A, we can't depend on it, it's not predictable. B, as the governor points out, you lose the ability to control your own destiny. Governor Noem, I'm less familiar with South Dakota. I'm right next door.
That's unfortunate.
I'm right next door to Governor
visit
Gordon.
us.
However, I know Mr. Johnson really well, and he gives me, I've been there, but he gives me all these rave reviews, so I know it's a wonderful place. In terms of federal land, do you have a significant issue with wildfire in the summer seasons?
We do, but I would say in the Black Hills National Forest is known as one of the best managed forests in our country. It has one of the last successful operating timber industries, and that is because we utilized some mechanisms that were implemented in the last Farm Bill that I had the chance to work on when I was here in Congress, using good neighbor authority to go out and to do some unique pilot projects to allow us to actually manage our forest in a way that many other people's hands were tied in other areas of our country. So I would say that now we're deeply challenged by what we see coming out of the Forest Service. They're cutting our cubic feet that we can get in timber contracts. In fact, the last GTR made false assumptions and cut our percentage down significantly. I would say a third of what it should be. And that brings incredible risk to our state. I know Governor Gordon and I have worked extensively on trying to get the Forest Service to revise their analysis and use real scientific data to come up with what we could actually go out there and log in order to utilize the timber. But this is the story of it all. We've got bureaucrats in DC making decisions not on facts on the ground, and what it's doing in the Black Hills is it's going to threaten life.
So your point is that the management of the Black Hills
Has been better.
aids the fight against wildfire.
Yes, it does. It aids in the fight against wildfire, and that's because we've been able to go around the federal government.
Thank
We've
you.
been able to get through some of the rules like this one that's being proposed, cut through that and still be able to do more than other forests have been able to. But now we see that going away under the Biden administration. But
Thank you,
listen,
Governor.
these forests are heavily populated with people and communities. When you have a forest fire come through, you're getting more erosion and waste, dangerous chemicals being released into the atmosphere. If a person was environmentally minded and conservation minded, they would allow us to manage these forests.
Thank you for that, Governor. I'm out of time, but that's a very good, thoughtful answer. Governor Gordon, thank you as well. Mr. Chairman, I yield back.
Gentleman from Idaho's time's expiring.